Welcome back to Empowered with Elizabeth Namofsky. And right now, today's topic is juggling. And I'm talking to Barbara Gray, and we're talking about how she comes up with investment ideas. So how do you do that? Because it's such a competitive environment that you work in.
It is. So I think the advantage I have is that most analysts are left-brained. They're very analytical. I've got both sides of my brain going. I'm analytical. I'm left-brained because I did my CFA, obviously, but I'm also chartered financial analyst designation, but I'm also right-brained. And I think being female actually has a bit of an advantage in that. So if you look at the CFAs, when I did mine now over 20 years ago, only 15% were female. That's the same when I worked in the industry as an equity analyst. And for times, I was the only female equity analyst in the firm. So, females tend to be, I don't know, maybe a bit more emotional. And the way I differentiated myself, actually, even back in my income trust days, is I always did tied in thematic stories. I love reading books, especially business books, and I took a lot of the lessons from those and tied them into my research. And that's really how I've differentiated myself in the past and how I differentiate myself now.
Because the financial industry is so vast. So what is your secret to connecting the dots and actually connecting with the analysts that are going to be reading what you've written?
Yeah, the way you just do it every day. So my process is, so I think of myself, if you think about the Impressionist artist, George Seurat, he's the father of pointillism. And I sort of see myself as, not see myself, but as Seurat. So what he does is, he puts together the dots, and from that, the canvas emerges of a beautiful image. What I do is every day I look for the dots. So my main source is Twitter, and Twitter I follow Wall Street Journal, TechCrunch, Forbes, CNBC, basically every source as well as individuals. And from that, I find out what the latest disruptive themes are. And I have a process. I mean, every day I spend about 5 hours writing out the latest disruptive themes. I put out a weekly research note, and it's really all about it's connecting the dots, seeing things by putting things together. And because I have, over 20 years of experience in capital markets over a wide range of sectors, I can do that. You couldn't just go in and just start writing up stories and, and connecting the dots and come up with investment thesis. That doesn't work. You have to have the background behind that. And then what I do is once a quarter, like now, I just put out a 28-page research report, which then I go and meet with my institutional and corporate clients. And I'm meeting with you tomorrow, Elizabeth, to talk about. And then from that process, what I do is every 8 months, because I write 1 week research note a week. It's usually between 5 to 10 pages. And I turn that now into a book. So every 9 months, I churn out a book. And it's really just a compilation of all my research notes.
And that's what I was just about to ask you. So you've published 10 books in 6 years. And I was going to say, how have you managed to publish so many books in such a short period of time?
Well, the first book I called Ubernomics, and I actually published that based on all the blogs I'd written. So from 2010 to 2016, I wasn't meeting with clients. I was just doing research for my own purposes and my own investing. And really, I also had 2 boys and, was trying to raise 2 boys during that time. It was in 2016 that I went back and met with all my former clients on the street and actually started selling my research. But so in 2016, before I went back to sort of the boardroom, I took all the research I'd done over the last 6 years, all the blog articles and stuff, and turned that into a book I called Ubernomics, The Economics of Abundance. And then it's interesting. So then I started writing my research and on a weekly basis in early 2017. And by the end of the year, I realized, I'm like, wow, I've written over 60,000 words. This could become a book. So I used the same platform that I'd used before. It's called Readsy, if anybody wants to do it. It's free. And I basically took all the articles, the research notes I'd written, and put them together, wrote an introduction, which was actually a good discipline, forcing me to go through all the research I'd written over the last year and really synthesize it and come up with really the bigger themes of what was happening. And then I actually hired a cover designer, and I called the book Secrets of the Amazon, because starting in 2017, especially, I think it was March 2017, I found I was writing more and more about Amazon. Now, this is when Amazon stock was at $900.
So Barbara, let me just stop you right there because I want to finish hearing about Amazon, but I also
Okay.
want to talk to you about the new book that you're writing right now. We'll be right back.